Well, let's tell you about the protests that held in the nation's capital, Abuja, by a group of indigenous contractors. Just in case you've never heard that, well, it is a thing. You know, all of the projects that you see, they are carried out by people, companies, a lot of them indigenous contractors, and they had to stage a protest at the nation's capital, Abuja, yesterday over alleged outstanding payments by the federal government. So you see, all the members rather of all Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria storming the Ministry of Finance yesterday. I know the president last year had said, yes, he's aware now, he's been told about the issues around payment of contractors, and he had said that, you know what, this will be sorted out. A committee has been set up to resolve all of these issues. But it is January the 20th, a day after January the 19th, when they protested, and it looks like these issues have not been resolved. So let's find out exactly what is at play here. What is happening to their money? Have the projects been done? Where is it stuck at? What are they hearing? We're joined on the program by Mr. Jackson Ifeanyi, who's the national president of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria. Joins us live from our Abuja studio. It is AICAN. And we also have Mr. Chibuzo Okereke, a public policy analyst, joining us virtually. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Well, it's good to have you. I'll naturally begin with you, Mr. Ifeanyi, because you led that protest to the Ministry of Finance yesterday. So what is at play here? Has your money been released and you've not received it? Is it that the money is not available? Have you carried out the projects or the contracts for which these monies are being sought? Help us understand what is at play here.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing? What is there is that I think these are projects of 2024 capital projects. The contractors nationwide, you know, finance all capital projects. Till date, payment that has been made to contractors, in spite of borrowed funds from financial institutions, not up to 20 to 30% has been paid as we speak. The government has been promising and promising and promising, and they've been reneging on the agreement. As we speak now, as at the 31st of December 2025, they finalized some payments of our own association, not the entire contractors nationwide. The payment that they finalized, most of us have not received 1 naira, no alert at all. So we've waited, we've spoken with Mrs. Doris, the Minister of Finance for the state. She promised that the payment will come in. Today is 20th. We've waited and we didn't see it. That is why we decided to go out there to make sure if that payment is not made, we keep on occupying the streets, especially Minister of Finance, until all payment of contractors are paid. Now, there are different versions of it. There are some of them that is not warranted. Contractors will finish their project for governments to pay. They will not give warrants. They will not release funds. Even if they release warrants, they won't be cash backing. And this has been going on for years. We have decided that this must stop. We can't continue with a system like this. They are killing the real sector, real investors. That's why we say no. This must stop.
So just to be
if
clear,
we had not been on the streets since last year, what they would have done is to take most of this fund to debt management.
right.
If you have 10 billion, they will start giving you 100 million, 20,000, 30,000, 100,000, and they will kill your system. So that is the reason why we said no.
Right. Help us understand the number now, the figures, because there are different figures flying around. One, the president set up a committee about a month plus ago to clear 1.5 trillion naira owed federal contractors. You are saying 4 trillion naira is owed. So let us know, the one that the president set up a committee to resolve, how far with that? Did that involve you as well. And your 4 trillion naira, has it been scratched at all by the 1.5 trillion naira, or it's a different one entirely?
My brother, you know what committee means. Whenever government set up committee is to, try to divert the attention of people. Now, if they set up committee, we are not aware if they set up committee. We'll be hearing it on the news. If they set up committee, they would have informed us, say, please, be part of this committee and monitor your funds. As we speak now, whether committee or no committee, no payment has been made. If any payment has been made, probably most of those are cronies, the foreign contractors. We are not aware, no payment has been made, and they are not ready to pay.
So let's be clear.
They are not ready to pay. The the 4.7 trillion. Now, the person that was in charge initially was Mr. Owaledo, and we had an agreement with him, and he said they've released warrants from May to September last year. Now, most contractors have finished their project between May and September, even till December. Most of them have not been covered. The only time they made payment was February last year, which is about 230 billion that they released. So now, whatsoever they're talking about is that the initial amount they calculated initially was 1.5 trillion. That 1.5 trillion, as at February, March. Between that February, March to September and December, so many contractors have finished their projects. You understand? So we've done our calculation. It's over 4.7 trillion. The entire budget of the capital this for 2024 is about 12.something trillion, 12 to 13.something, if I'm not mistaken.
So
as indigenous contractors, about 4.something.
So are you saying that whatever monies that have been claimed to have been paid were paid to other contractors, not the indigenous contractors? Are you privy to that information?
100%. 100%. If they've paid, let them come and give us evidence.
So what is the reason for not paying? What is their reason for not paying?
Probably it's for 2027 election. We don't know what they are doing with the funds of Nigeria. The Renew Hope projects are going on. But the risk in contractors that collected loans from banks, most of our properties have been seized by banks. The real contractors are not being paid at all.
Okay.
You are journalists, you can do your findings.
We'll come back to you. There are questions I want to ask you, but let's bring in Mr. Chibuzo Osai, who is a who is a public policy analyst on this particular. Mr. Chibuzo, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. Yes, good morning.
So is there a good reason why government is not fulfilling its obligation that you're aware of?
Well, I think, first of all, we're having these issues because we have refused to follow our laws and governance framework that actually regulates procurement process and the payment in the country. We have the Procurement Act for 2007 that actually prescribes that the contract should not be awarded if there are no funds available,
All right, Chibuzo, I will try and get back to you. But before Bukola asks a question, let me just find out from you. Maybe you help us point out some of this. What kind of jobs do the contractors do? The building infra. What kind of work do you do? Or did you? Some of your guys, what did they do? Are they building bridges? Are they building roads? Just to have an idea of the nature of the capital project you undertook.
Like for me personally, I equipped an ICT center at Ndufu, Alessa Kwame University, Ebonyi State. I did a project at Imo State School. I did another project at Bayelsa, ICT also. The one in Imo State, this is federal government college, renovation of the school. So she has some of our contractors that supply drugs, build hospitals, markets, roads, bridges, and so many. And most of this project has been commissioned without pay. How can you commission projects? Those projects the government has been using those projects, and you refuse to pay till date. And you see them all over everywhere, campaigning for 2027. We continue to make sure we demand for our rights. Nothing under this earth, if everyone to forget it for. Yesterday, the aides of the security aide of Mr. Doris shot at us yesterday at Minister of Finance because we are demanding for our rights. That can never happen. If they want to kill all of us, they will kill all of us in the street. Let the whole world know that Nigeria system are against indigenous contractors, the real sector.
All right. Let's bring in Mr. Okereke again and hope that this time around we'll be able to, hear him clearly. Jeffrey had asked what could be the valid reason for the delay in payment of the indigenous contractors. And this is particularly important, especially since President Tinubu last year had expressed concern about the delay in payment and set up a panel to look into this. So it's been a month plus. What could probably be the reason for this delay? Dr. Okereke, that's for you.
It has to do with the bridge. Yeah, if you can hear me, I say foundationally, this has to do with the breach of the Procurement Act 2007. Ordinarily, contracts are not supposed to be awarded and the commencement of execution if funds are not available for such a line item in the budget or project. So if you recall, before this whole centralization process, agencies were self-accounting bodies that process and then make payments before we had the issues that now resulted in the centralization process. So if we are following the Procurement Act and the federal government financial regulations, we are not going to get to this point. And if you look at the payment regulation regarding contracts, everything is not paid at once. There is mobilization, there is a tranche payment, and then there is final payment, and there are milestones and completion level of work that must be certified before you get to this level. So if we breach the Procurement Act and then go ahead to award contracts, allow our indigenous contractors who actually help to fuel and stimulate the economy, borrow money from the banks, go and execute projects, maybe even complete them, and then they start coming back to process payment. As the payments are delayed, you will discover that the cost of funds continue to rise. And maybe that is what is creating this kind of crisis. But I think on both sides, they should sit down and do proper reconciliation, because government may also have information as to the kind of the quality of project that has been done, especially now they have centralization process where they have to turn in GPRS photos and reports from field. And the people processing the payment may have technical issues with the report that have been submitted, and the reasons are not out there for the contractors to understand. And of course, we have 3 levels. They have to budget for money, they have to do release, and they have to cash back the release before payments are made. So all these bureaucratic measures actually cause a delay. So, but on the whole, it's important that adequate reconciliation is done and the Procurement Act is followed strictly. And if there are going to be waivers, the waivers must be clear. Contractors in Nigeria, it has become risky, and they must not continue to go and borrow money to go into the field if they are not sure the project being executed has been funded adequately. Yeah.
All right. You have repeated or reiterated a term that Mr. Jackson had mentioned earlier. I'd like you to clarify it for the benefit of our viewers who may not understand what cash backing means in public policy. But while you're doing that, I'd like you to also respond to this, which is very a critical part of the conversation. We hardly hear, the contractors handling major projects in the FCT, or, for instance, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway are protesting delay in payment, or the impact of the Public Procurement Act, having anything to do with the release of funds to further those projects. So why is this applicable only to indigenous contractors, who, by the way, have been protesting since last year?
Well, there are a number of reasons, and I'm sure they know that very well. First, when you budgeted fund is the amount allocated in the budget for a specific line item in the project. Let's say construction of 10 blocks of classroom in XYZ location, 200 million. That is the budgeted. Then when you have the release, usually the release comes in lump sum that the government has now done release, and then they do allocation of those release. Then the cash backing is simply availability of fund to now credit the beneficiary on the particular project. So you can have release that are not cash backs. It's simply financial regulation process leading to a payment for government jobs or any other activity. Now, the funding models for the projects you gave as example are not the same. Most of these high-level projects have a different funding model. In fact, some of them have waivers from the Procurement Act, from the Federal Executive Council resolutions, because maybe they are funded by loan or by public and private partnership arrangement. So in that respect, they don't go the route of the normal indigenous contractor process. So you wouldn't have to find them protesting because the funding method or model is totally different. It could be by absolute loan model, in which case when projects are executed a certain milestone, they will come and do certification, and turn-in certificate is verified, and then they file for payment, then the loan amount is then credited to them. But if you go to the normal capital projects indigenous contractors do, first of all, when the budget is released and is a project contained in the budget, the agencies will be required to commence procurement process by advertising. Then these contractors will now bid in line with that process. When the bids and the procurement process is concluded, award letters are issued to them, right? This is being done in breach of the Procurement Act, because if before you issue award letter or ask contractor to sign agreement, that project must have been funded. So, and because we have been going through this process all these years, we have been creating this problem. If you remember in 2016, just shortly, the first budget that President Buhari was executing, he simply refused to fund the process until a letter was written by one of the governors and later leaked it to the public because the president at then approach was that there are fraud in this whole system and he can't just be pumping money into it without being sure that the projects were being done. So this indigenous contractors capital project follows that model where they award them, and then for some of them, they receive a mobilization fund, and they're expected to complete a certain milestone before second tranche payments are made after verification and reports of the project turn in. But there are other, endogenous reasons that we may not publicly, begin to discuss here, but there are critical issues regarding the source of the project itself, the execution that has been done and to what level and the kind of demand. And to be sincere, executing projects in Nigeria is a very big issue, because beyond the fact that all the capital projects, if the contractors will be debited at least 22% from VAT to service charge, to project management fee, to withholding tax, to retainership of 5% and what have you. If consultancy, almost about 18.5% will be gone from the project cost. And when they get to the villages or community where they're executing them, many of them will be chased out, and the youth will give condition of how much they will be paid, where they will source certain materials before they even commence this process. So we need a complete overhaul of this whole process, and then so that we can have better productivity and outcome. Yeah.
Well, we must anchor at this point. Some of the major issues have been raised. I know that you're also keeping your eyes on the workers' strike in the FCT, and the irony is FCT is known for projects, right? Contracts and contractors doing work. But when it comes to workers, they're on strike right now. So let me get the final thoughts from Mr. Ifeanyi, because I remember the president had talked about this debarment policy, and the BPP also talked about overpricing of contracts, saying that he had saved 1.1 trillion naira. So I don't know if that is your money that is now being considered as savings by the BPP. But just quickly, Mr. Ifeanyi, what is the way forward for you right now?
The way forward is that we will continue to occupy until all our contractors have been paid. We'll continue to occupy.
All right.
Funds must come in. It's like, like Chibuzo was saying earlier, warrants, that's what they call warrants. Warrants is like making available a platform for payments, okay? Now, cash backing is like that fund being available in the government account, so that when contractors finish their projects, submit all verifiable documents, they can access their money. Now, government gives warrants without cash backing, which means they are giving us it's like a dot check. Giving check that when you get to the bank and submit the check, you can't be able to get your funds. That is what this government has been doing. And the funny thing is that this 2024 capital budget is the first budget of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As we speak, that 2025 capital project was not executed up to 10%, if at all. It was. They gave 30% advance payment as warrant, without even cash backing also. We have a bigger problem to confront. But this all individual contractors association of Nigeria, we have come out to make sure that government does the right thing henceforth.
So
They can't neglect us anymore. They can't take us for granted anymore.
And it's important for the Ministry of Finance to speak on this and clear the air. And this is us inviting them yet again to speak on these issues. Since 2024, it doesn't look good at all. But we have to thank you so much, Mr. Jackson Ifeanyi, the National President of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria, AICAN, as well as Dr. Chibuzo Okereke, Public Policy Analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll be having the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority right here in our studio. So if you have questions, issues, stay with us. We'll be right back.